Welcome back to Joy Bike. I'm Mike, and in this episode, we are going to be kicking off the Road to Recovery series that we talked about in the last video. And if you haven't seen the last video, go back and check it out. It's a really fun one where we build up a gravel bike, and I talk about the motivations behind picking up that gravel bike. And the big motivation behind picking up that gravel bike is this guy right here. So go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Mike Murfitt Sr. Had a fairly bad mountain bike accident 11 weeks ago, and just thankful that I'm here today, able to ride bikes again, walk, still walking with a cane, but I'm excited to get back on the bike again and ride with my son.
Let's kind of walk through what the day looked like.
Well, the day started as I met our friend Chris Nusser at his house, and we were going to a celebration of life for our friend JB that had passed away. And so we all met at the upper trailhead at Johnny Park. And there was a pretty good group of people at that point in time. I would say there was probably 10, 15 people maybe. So we all rode down to, where we were going to do the celebration of life. And I watched a couple of my friends do a move on a big rock slab, and they did it fairly well. And I was like, I can do that today. And so I was sitting there waiting, and they did the celebration of life, spread JB's ashes, everything else. And I was up at the top, and I'm like, okay, if I need spotters, somebody spot me or whatever. And I dropped in, and I went past our friend Lee, and he's like, check your speed, check your speed. So I checked my speed, got around almost to the bottom of the rock slab, and noticed that I was going a little bit too fast. And I'm like, if I just pull up, I'm going to ride through this. And the next thing I remember, I was bouncing off rocks. The next thing I remember after that was I had a bunch of friends around me, and they were pretty concerned, to say the least. And they seen what I didn't see. All I knew is that I couldn't get up and walk. And I was laying there, and I told our friend Chris, I'm like, I'm walking out of here. And he's like, no, you're not. And another one of our friends, Michael Eldridge, he had an InReach, which, if you don't know what that is, it's a rescue device that you push the button, search and rescue will come find you and come get you. And he was looking at Chris Nusser, and he's like, just tell me when to hit the button. And finally Nusser looked at him and said, hit the button. Before I knew it, there was volunteer fire department there from Pinewood Springs, Big Elk Meadows. Big shout out to them. Those guys, they were awesome. Not long after that, Rocky Mountain Rescue got there. Again, shout out to those guys. They got me out of a dire situation. And then the ambulance people got there, and there was two of them. And
at that point, it was like an hour or so before the people were even in there to help?
Yeah, total rescue time, I think, evac time was about 4 hours from the time I went down till the time they got me to the ambulance. So they put me in the sled.
And at that point in time, you guys didn't really know what was wrong.
No.
There was a good idea.
Yeah, we pretty much knew that I had a broken hip, is what we knew. But, we really didn't know exactly what was all wrong with me, from looking back at the video that I have not watched and I will not watch.
And that's something, if you're okay with it, we can put it in this video for people to see and we'll roll that right now for people to see kind of how traumatic this accident really was. If you're sensitive to really gnarly crashes, do not watch what's about to play right now, because this video it's really serious. And like he said at the beginning of it, thankfully he is here and he's walking, and we're about to go for a bike ride, which is going to be really cool. And it's insane considering that, this was only 77 days ago that this happened.
Start.
Man, you're good. You can do this. There you go.
Don't do it.
Don't hurt yourself.
Don't hurt yourself. Slow down. Slow down.
Got it.
Slow down. more to switch. I'm just thankful for the people that were around me that day and got me out of there, and you know, was able to get me to the hospital where they were able to take care of me.
So they got you to Boulder, and that's when they started running the tests and the x-rays and the MRIs, and we discovered exactly what had gone wrong.
Yeah, they said I definitely broke my hip. I broke it, and I broke my femur. I broke my front bottom rib, my back bottom rib. My L1 through L4 vertebrae had fractures, trans-process fractures, and you know, I really didn't notice that pain much because the hip was so much more painful than anything else. They checked me into a room, was supposed to have surgery the next morning. This happened on a Saturday. Didn't get me in until like 2:30, 3 o'clock on Sunday to finally have my surgery.
And that was a rough, pretty much 24 hours from the time of the accident to getting you into surgery. And it was really hard seeing you being in that much pain.
Long story short, it was 6 nights, 5 days in the hospital. And they just monitored me. And I remember one of the doctors coming in, and she's like, you know, are you ready to go home? I'm like, yeah. She's like, I'm gonna ask you a question. If your house is on fire, could you get out of it? And I'm like, nope. She's like, well, looks like you're staying another day.
That's a humbling moment right there. Right?
Yeah, you know, so.
Those days in the hospital were crazy because, like, you know, the second they put that rod in your femur, they basically had you up walking.
Yeah.
Like, they brought him back to the room and they're like, okay, well, tomorrow you're going to be on your feet and, like, walking to the bathroom and doing exercises. Like, you need to be starting to move. And I think that's for you when, like, the reality set in of what this journey was going to look like. Right?
Yeah, it's never had anything like this happen to me before, so it's been definitely a journey of what's happened in, you know, the last, you know, almost 3 months. That, you know, so now I have basically a rod that goes all the way from my hip down to my knee. I have a pin in my knee, right above my knee, and one that goes into the hip, into the hip socket, into the femur to hold all that together.
So let's jump back to that first moment when you got to put your feet on the ground for the first time after the accident. What was going through your mind?
In the hospital?
Yeah, in the hospital.
Ouch.
Yeah.
This hurts. I couldn't hardly get out of the bed. It was so much pain just to pull myself up out of the bed that it was just excruciating pain, nothing that I've ever felt before. So it was just a matter of just telling myself, I have to do this. I have to get up and go to the bathroom.
Meanwhile, as he's talking about having to get up and go to the bathroom, he's already talking about how excited you are to get through this and get back on your bike.
Yeah.
You know, that was almost priority number one. It's like, okay, every time a doctor came in, basically, how long is it going to be until I can get back on my bike? Which is something that I can relate to. I think all of us as riders can relate to. Like, the second you get hurt, it's how long can I get back on my bike?
And the funny thing about that is nobody would give me an answer. Finally, I got to go home. It wasn't easy getting into the house. I had to have you help me get into the house.
Well, let's talk about a little bit of that time in between of leaving the hospital and where we are today, and like what some of those days were like. Because, you know, we've talked about some of those really dark days, and like, how did you motivate yourself to get through those? You know, I know you talked about feeling those feelings. You think that was a really big part of this healing process of like just sitting in that emotion and saying like, this is real and I'm gonna have to go through it to get back on the bike.
Yeah, it was, you know, for the first couple of days when I was home, we didn't have a recliner. So my wife, Christy's like, I'm gonna go buy you a recliner. And I got home on a Thursday, I think it was a Thursday, and had a recliner there by Monday, and was able to, you know, put my feet back, ice, everything else, and get a little more comfort. But there was days that I just sat there and cried because it hurt so bad. And, you know, it went about 3 or 4 weeks, 3 weeks probably went by. Then I started PT.
Yeah.
And went in and they started helping me get better. And they told me that I could ride the spin bike. So that was good. He carried the spin bike up from the basement and have a spin bike in my dining room, which I'm sure my wife loves.
Do you think that there was or do you remember a turning point for you of that mindset shift? Like you're talking about those really dark days, those really hard moments, starting to go to PT, but I feel like there was a very big shift for you from being, stuck in one spot, walking with the walker, and then the next time I see you, you're walking around with the crutches, moving quick. Like, do you think that there was something that hit you that you're like, okay, like we're gonna start moving forward, or was it just persistence?
I had to quit feeling sorry for myself. I think that was the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Is that I was feeling sorry for myself. Shit happens.
Yeah, it's the name of the game. Right?
You're gonna ride enough and do enough things out there in the world that, shit does happen. And, unfortunately it happened to me that day.
Yep.
And, I'm lucky to have great people around me.
It was cool to see everybody rally together and help out. So now that it seems to me like a lot of the darkest days are in the past, the hardest days are in the past, and we're kind of moving towards some really exciting days. What would you say to people who are kind of facing those things like you did, like somebody that's going through it too?
Don't give up, there is a light at the end of the tunnel, because, it's frustrating at days, sometimes, and some days I didn't want to do anything. I just wanted to sit in my chair and feel sorry for myself, and I couldn't do that anymore. I just had to start putting in the work and being able to do what I was able to do, and just, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. If you want to do the same stuff that you were doing and get back to that level, you have to put the work in.
Yeah.
And you know that.
Yeah.
If you don't do the work, you won't get back to that level. And I want to get back to that level so bad, because it's what I love to do. It's my out for everything and anything. Having a bad day, go on a bike ride, and it makes everything better.
We looked earlier today, it was 77 days ago to the day. It was a Saturday, today's Saturday.
Yep.
And after this conversation right now, we're gonna go get on gravel bikes and go for your first bike ride.
Yeah.
And we don't know how that's gonna go yet.
We don't know how that's gonna go yet. And
we're excited, right?
Yeah, I'm excited to go pedal a bike. I'm excited to have the wind blow in my face again. And
you just got cleared 2 days ago.
Cleared 2 days ago to be able to ride a bike.
And drive a car.
And drive a car again. I wasn't able to drive for 10 and a half weeks.
77 days in, I'm excited to see what another 77 from this look like. And that's going to be the beauty of this series, right?
Yeah.
Like, is going from this conversation right now, we're going to go out on a bike ride. We're going to be doing, the bike rides are going to get harder as this series increases. This first bike ride, we might just ride down the street and that might be the end of it. We don't know.
I don't even know if I can get on a bike.
Yeah, we don't know.
I don't at this point, I don't know what I'm capable of doing.
Yep. So we're going to go see how far we can go. If we ride one block, that is a huge win. If we ride 5 miles, that's a huge win.
Yeah.
And we'll see what the day holds for us. And I'm excited to be taking all of you guys along with us on this journey, because like I said, we all fall down. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
Yep.
And, the injuries, vary in severity, but we are all eligible for a serious injury.
Yeah.
And I'm, thankful that you're okay with being transparent and open, because these things are really hard to navigate through. And I'm stoked that we're having the conversation we're having right now, and that the darkest days are behind us, and that 77 days later, and I keep saying that number because it's insane to me that you're moving around as good as you are. 77 days later, we're going to go on a bike ride. So.
I'm looking forward to that bike ride more than probably just about anything in my life, and just because riding a bike is it's special. And I know you've talked about, being able to ride a bike, and how when you're a kid, you get on that bike, it's that freedom.
Yep.
And you're like, there's nothing like it, the wind, the pedaling, the freedom, it's your power doing that. And, that's what's cool.
This series has been something we've talked about since day one of you being in the hospital. And it's something we've been excited to do, and I'm really excited to kick this off with you. And we've done the hard part, talking about from day one leading up till right now, day 77 of this injury, talked about those hard, really dark days. And I think all that's left for us to do at this point is to go ride bikes.
Yeah, need to ride bikes. Don't know how far I'll be able to ride.
Yeah, no expectation with what this is going to be.
Don't even know if I can get my leg over the bike.
Yeah.
We're going to find out.
First step is you have to take the bike off the bike rack.
Yeah. Yes.
You got it on the bike rack.
I got it on the bike rack.
It's out there on the back of the truck.
It's ready to go.
But yeah, I'm really excited to see what transpires with this ride. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm also excited to see what it looks like in 77 days from now, because if I had to guess, we'll probably be riding some light single track in 77 days from now. So that'll be really exciting to see as this series progresses, how the rides progress and all the fun that's to come.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to it. So with all that being said, I think all that's left for us to do is to go ride bikes.
It's time to go ride bikes.
So cheers to that.
Cheers to that.
I love you, man.
Love you too.
This is going to be a lot of fun. Thank you guys all so much for being here. This is going to be a really fun series, and I hope that it motivates and inspires some of you that are facing really hard challenges or injuries similar to this, because it's not easy. So yeah, with all that being said, let's go ride some bikes.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah. So this is officially the first ride back.
First ride back. We're going to see how it goes.
Nice job.
That hurt.
All right.
Okay.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Here we go.
Riding bikes. Yep. Finally.
How do the first few pedal strokes feel?
Weird. Kind of hurts a little bit, but once I get going, I think it'll be all right.
That's good stuff right there.
Woo!
Doing okay?
Yep.
Okay. A little easier than getting up out of that hospital bed 77 days ago.
That was a bitch.
Woo! We're currently 7 miles in on Senior's first bike ride back in 77 days, and he's absolutely crushing it. We just went up a little bit of a pitch, which was definitely the first like real climb of the day, and he crushed it. So cool to see him cruising. We are doing a little pit stop right now, hanging out, and then I think we're gonna make our return trip back. So we'll probably end up right around 13 to 15 miles for the day, which is absolutely incredible. How's it feel so far?
Feels good, a little tired, feels good, so we'll see what the next half has in store for us.
It's gonna be fun.
Hell yeah.
You're killing it.
Yeah, we'll see.
Snack time is over.
Snack time over.
We're back on the trail, and now we're making the return trip. Should be good. It looks like some weather might be moving in, so hopefully we beat that. Yeah. We're nearing the end of today's ride. We're gonna be a little over 14 miles for Senior's first ride back. How was it, man?
Hell yeah, feels good to have the wind blowing in my face again and pedaling and riding bikes. Hell yeah.
So much fun. I think we're gonna put the bikes up and maybe go find an adult beverage somewhere.
Hell yes, we are. I deserve it.
Yes, you do. And we're back to the house. How many miles did we end up with?
14 and a half.
14 and a half. So after not riding for 77 days, you rode 14 and a half miles.
14 and a half miles. I'm a little smoked, I'll be honest with you. I'm a little tired.
I think that's warranted.
I'm ready for a beer.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
You deserve it, man. I'm so excited. This was beautiful.
Cheers. Yep. Good deal.